Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question that could change the course of your life. Why is it that some people rise to the top, no matter where they start, while others stay stuck, even with every advantage? It's not luck. It's not talent. It's not even intelligence. It comes down to three skills that determine everything: your emotions, your communication, and your discipline. If you master these, you won't just play the game of life, you'll own it. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how. And picture this for a moment. You wake up every single day with a burning sense of purpose, a vision that pulls you forward so strongly it doesn't matter what obstacles stand in your way. You push through, you rise up, and you keep moving. That's the kind of life we're talking about. That's the kind of energy it takes to succeed. But success is not random. It's not luck. It's not reserved for the chosen few. Success is built brick by brick, skill by skill. And there are three skills that, if you truly master them, will give you an edge in life so powerful, so undeniable, that nothing can hold you back. These are the skills that separate those who dream about success from those who actually live it. And the first skill is the ability to master your emotions. Listen closely. Life is going to test you. You will be rejected. You will fail. You will lose. You will hit walls so high you'll think you can't climb them. But the truth is this: it's not what happens to you that defines you, it's how you respond. If you can train yourself to be emotionally strong, if you can rise above fear, anger, doubt, and step into a state of certainty and clarity when others crumble, you will dominate life. Most people let their emotions control them. They get angry and lash out. They get scared and freeze. They get discouraged and quit. But if you can take control of your mind, if you can iron your nervous system to stay centered, focused, and determined no matter what, you are unstoppable. Because when emotions run high, logic runs low. And if you're the one who can stay calm, creative, and resourceful under pressure, the world will look to you as the leader. And think about it. The great achievers of history weren't people who never felt fear. They were people who felt fear but acted anyway. They weren't people who never doubted. They were people who silenced the doubt long enough to take the leap. Emotional mastery is the foundation of all success. It's about training yourself daily to step into empowering states, to choose gratitude when life gives you loss, to choose courage when life offers you fear, to choose action when the easy way out is quitting. If you can master that, you will always find a way forward. And the second skill you must master is communication. If you cannot influence, if you cannot connect, if you cannot move people with your words, you will always hit a ceiling. Life is about relationships. Business, careers, opportunities, leadership, it all comes down to how effectively you can communicate with other human beings. Think about it. Every great leader was first a great communicator. Every successful entrepreneur could enroll people into their vision. Every world changer could make people feel something so deeply they couldn't help but act. But communication is not just about speaking well. It's about listening deeply. It's about understanding people at a core level, knowing their needs, their fears, their desires, and then speaking in a way that resonates with them. When you can do that, doors open, relationships flourish, opportunities multiply. You can't just talk to people. You have to connect with them. And that means authenticity. That means presence. That means putting your ego aside and truly seeking to understand. And think about the most important moments of your life: getting a job, falling in love, convincing someone to give you a chance. They were all moments of communication. And yet most people never train this skill. They never practice. They think talking is enough. But if you want to succeed at the highest level, you have to master the art of influence. You have to learn how to tell stories that inspire, how to paint visions so clear people feel like they're already living them, how to use your voice, your body, your energy to move people emotionally. Because when you can move people, you can move the world. And the third skill, the one that ties it all together, is relentless self-discipline. I don't care how inspired you are. I don't care how big your dreams are. If you don't have the discipline to follow through when you don't feel like it, you will lose. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, especially when it's hard, especially when no one is watching, especially when you don't feel motivated. Motivation might start the fire, but discipline keeps it burning. And every champion you admire, every success story you hear, every person who has created greatness, they didn't get there because they felt like working hard every day. They got there because they built habits, they built rituals, they built discipline into their identity. They stopped negotiating with themselves. They stopped giving themselves a way out. Discipline is freedom. Discipline is power. Discipline is what allows you to turn vision into reality. But here's the secret. Discipline isn't about punishment, it's about alignment. It's not about forcing yourself, it's about reminding yourself who you are and why you're here. When your vision is strong enough, discipline becomes natural. When your reasons are clear, Following through stops being a chore and starts being a privilege. And when you truly master self-discipline, you become dangerous because now nothing can stop you. Excuses fall away. Distractions lose their grip, and your consistency compounds into unstoppable momentum. And so imagine this, a person who has emotional mastery, who can control their state no matter what happens, who can step into courage, confidence, and clarity instantly. A person who has communication mastery, who can inspire others, build deep relationships, influence outcomes, and move people into action. A person who has self-discipline so powerful that nothing can knock them off course, who follows through day after day, who builds habits of excellence. That person becomes a force of nature. That person bends reality to their will. That person doesn't just survive, they thrive, they create, they lead, they succeed at the highest level. And life will test you. It will throw storms your way. It will knock you down. But if you master these three skills, emotional mastery, communication mastery, and self-discipline, you won't just weather the storm. You'll learn how to dance in the rain. You'll learn how to ride the wind. You'll learn how to turn adversity into advantage. Because life isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about becoming the kind of person who can face anything and still rise. And the difference between the people who succeed and the people who don't isn't talent. It isn't intelligence. It isn't luck. It's these skills. It's the ability to lead yourself first and then others. It's the ability to take control of your mind, to connect with people deeply, and to discipline your actions daily. If you do that, your success is inevitable, not optional, inevitable. And here's the truth. You already have the capacity inside you. These skills aren't something you're born with or without. They're trainable. They're learnable. They're a muscle you can strengthen every single day. Every moment you choose courage over fear, you're mastering your emotions. Every time you truly list and then connect, you're sharpening your communication. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, you're building your discipline. And the more you practice, the more powerful you become. One day people will look at you and say, how do they do it? How do they always stay so calm? How do they inspire everyone around them? How do they keep winning? And the answer will be simple. You mastered the three skills that matter most. You chose to build yourself from the inside out. You chose to take control. You chose to succeed. And the more you practice, the more powerful you become. One day people will look at you and say, how do they do it? How do they always stay so calm? How do they inspire everyone around them? How do they keep winning? And the answer will be simple. You mastered the three skills that matter most. You chose to build yourself from the inside out. You chose to take control. You chose to succeed. But let me take this even deeper with you, because knowing these skills isn't enough. Knowledge is cheap. Everyone has access to information. Everyone can watch videos, read books, listen to podcasts. The difference is not in knowing, it's in living, it's in conditioning, it's in training these skills into your nervous system so deeply that they stop being things you have to think about and start being who you are. That's when your life changes. That's when you become unstoppable. And think about emotional mastery again. It's one thing to say, I won't let fear control me. And it's another thing to feel fear in your body, that shaking, that tightening of the chest, that flood of negative thoughts, and still step forward anyway. It's not intellectual, it's physical. And if you want to master it, you've got to practice putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. You've got to expose yourself to fear and train your brain to see it not as a wall, but as a signal to act. Every time you step into discomfort, every time you move through fear instead of away from it, you're building that muscle. And one day the fear will still show up, but you'll smile because you'll know it has no power over you anymore. And let's talk about joy for a moment. People underestimate the power of joy. We think emotional mastery is only about dealing with negative emotions, but it's also about amplifying the positive ones. When you can put yourself in a peak state at will, when you can ignite passion, energy, gratitude, and love in an instant, you're no longer waiting for life to give you a reason to feel good. You're generating it. And when you bring that kind of energy into the room, into your relationships, into your work, people will feel it. They will want to follow you, work with you, believe in you, because energy is contagious. And if your energy is strong, confident, and empowering, the world will reflect that back to you. And now imagine combining that with communication mastery, because let's face it, life isn't about doing it alone. You can be emotionally strong, but if you can't enroll people in your vision, if you can't get buy-in, if you can't build a tribe around your mission, you'll always be limited. Communication is leverage. With one conversation, you can open doors that would take years to push open on your own. With one story, You can inspire someone to take action that changes everything. With one word, you can shift the energy of an entire room. That's the power of mastering communication. But again, it's not just about what you say, it's about how you show up. People don't just hear your words, they feel your intent. They feel whether you're authentic, whether you care, whether you're present. Most people listen just enough to reply, but true communicators listen to understand. They listen so deeply they can see the world through the other person's eyes. And when you do that, when people feel truly seen and understood by you, they will trust you, follow you, and fight for you. And the greatest opportunities in life don't come from what you know, they come from who you know and how you connect with them. But here's the twist. The more you develop your communication skills, the bigger your world becomes. Suddenly, you're not just meeting people, you're building relationships. You're not just talking, you're influencing. You're not just socializing, you're creating networks of support, mentorship, and opportunity that will accelerate your success beyond anything you could do alone. And then there's discipline, the glue that holds it all together. Discipline is what turns knowledge into results. It's the daily decision to keep moving, to keep building, to keep showing up. And this is where most people fail. They get inspired, they set a goal, they take action for a week, maybe a month, and then life gets hard, distractions creep in, and they quit. They tell themselves they'll get back on track later, but later never comes. But discipline is different. Discipline says, I don't care if I feel like it. I don't care if it's hard. I don't care if it's inconvenient. I made a commitment and I follow through. Discipline isn't sexy. It's not glamorous. It's waking up earlier than you want to. It's staying up later than you feel like. It's doing the work when no one is clapping for you. But that's why it's so powerful. Because while everyone else is waiting for motivation, you're building momentum. While everyone else is giving up at the first sign of resistance, you're compounding your consistency. And here's the beautiful part. Discipline builds confidence. Every time you do what you said you do, you start to trust yourself more. You start to believe in your own word. Most people don't trust themselves because they've broken promises to themselves too many times. They say they'll start tomorrow, they'll get fit, they'll save money, they'll launch the project, but they don't follow through. And deep down, they know it. So when they set a new goal, there's a little voice that says, yeah, right, you've said that before. But when you start keeping your promises, when you start following through, that voice changes. It starts saying, yes, you've got this. You've done it before. You'll do it again. That's how self-belief is built. Not through affirmations, not through hype, but through discipline, through proving to yourself day after day that you can count on you. And now let me show you the bigger picture. These three skills don't just operate separately. They feed each other. Emotional mastery gives you the strength to keep going when discipline feels hard. Discipline ensures you keep practicing communication until it becomes second nature. Communication connects you with people who elevate your emotional state and hold you accountable to your discipline. It's a cycle of growth that compounds over time, creating exponential results. And as you grow in these skills, something else happens. You begin to see yourself differently. You stop identifying as someone who's trying, struggling, or hoping, and you start identifying as someone who creates, someone who leads, someone who succeeds. Your identity shifts, and identity is everything because you will always act in alignment with who you believe you are. If you believe you're disciplined, you'll act disciplined. If you believe you're influential, you'll communicate with influence. If you believe you're emotionally strong, you'll act with strength. And that's why this isn't just about learning skills. It's about becoming. It's about transforming your very sense of self. Because when you embody these qualities, they don't take effort anymore. They're automatic. They're natural. They're who you are. And when that happens, success is not just what that you do. It's what you attract. And so picture your future for a moment. Imagine yourself 5 years from now, having fully mastered these three skills. Imagine the level of confidence you'll have, the way you'll walk into any room with certainty, knowing you can handle whatever happens emotionally. Imagine the relationships you'll have built, the opportunities you'll have created, the way people look at you with respect because of how you communicate and connect. Imagine the results you'll have created in your business, your career, your health, your life, simply because you had the discipline to stay consistent, to follow through, to never give up. And that version of you already exists. It's not a fantasy. It's a reality waiting to be claimed, but it requires daily practice. It requires you to show up for yourself every single day with the determination to master your emotions, sharpen your communication, and strengthen your discipline. Because when you do that, you're not just building skills, you're building a life of freedom, power, and unstoppable success. And that version of you already exists. It's not a fantasy. It's a reality waiting to be claimed. but it requires daily practice. It requires you to show up for yourself every single day with the determination to master your emotions, sharpen your communication, and strengthen your discipline. Because when you do that, you're not just building skills, you're building a life of freedom, power, and unstoppable success. And here's the truth most people never face. Life doesn't wait for you to be ready. Opportunities don't wait for the perfect timing. The world doesn't pause until you feel confident enough to act. Life rewards action. Life rewards courage. Life rewards those who step up even when they don't have it all figured out. And the only way to step up consistently is to ingrain these three skills so deeply into who you are that hesitation no longer owns you. And think about emotional mastery again. Every single day you're bombarded with triggers. Affect that makes you late, criticism from people who don't understand you, rejection from opportunities you thought were yours, failures that sting. Most people let these moments hijack their state. They go from calm to angry in a heartbeat, from excited to discouraged in seconds, from confident to doubting themselves with one setback. But you are not most people. You're not here to live in reaction. You're here to take command. And when you master your emotions, you don't let the outside world dictate your inner world. You don't let temporary setbacks steal your permanent power. And because here's the secret, every emotion is a signal, but it's not a command. Fear is telling you something matters. Anger is telling you a boundary is being crossed. Sadness is reminding you of a loss, but none of these emotions have to control you. When you pause, breathe, and choose your response instead of reacting blindly, you shift from victim to creator. And once you step into creator mode, you are free. And now imagine pairing that with communication mastery. When you can hold your emotional state steady, your communication becomes even more powerful. You're not speaking from reactivity, you're speaking from clarity. You're not trying to prove yourself, you're trying to move others. You're not communicating from insecurity, you're communicating from conviction. That's what inspires people. That's what makes people listen. Not fancy words, not polished speeches, but the energy of certainty that comes from mastering your own inner world. And when people feel that energy, they can't help but respond. They lean in, they trust you, they want to follow you. Because the truth is, people aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for authenticity, for someone who can hold the storm and still stand tall. And that's who you become when you merge emotional strength with communication mastery. But don't forget, the fuel for both is discipline. Without discipline, emotional mastery is a theory, communication mastery is a wish, and success is an illusion. Discipline is where it all becomes real. It's what turns goals into results, visions into realities, and dreams into achievements. And discipline is built not in giant leaps, but in daily choices. The choice to wake up early when it's easier to hit snooze. The choice to finish what you started when distractions call your name. The choice to keep promises to yourself, even the small ones, because you know every kept promise builds trust and every broken promise erodes it. And think of discipline as the foundation of your freedom. Without it, you're a slave to your moods, your impulses, your excuses. With it, you're in control. You decide, you direct, you lead. And the best part? Discipline compounds. The small things you do consistently build into massive results over time. Just like a muscle, the more you train it, the stronger it gets. And soon, what used to feel impossible becomes your new normal. And now let's take a step back and look at what mastering these skills does to your future. Picture yourself walking into situations that used to intimidate you, speaking in front of a crowd, negotiating a deal, having a tough conversation, chasing an opportunity that feels out of reach, and instead of shrinking, you expand. Instead of doubting, you step forward. Instead of letting fear choke you, you breathe and use it as fuel. That's emotional mastery at work. And picture yourself in a conversation where the stakes are high, maybe a job interview, maybe pitching your vision, maybe inspiring your team. And instead of stumbling over words or overthinking, you connect deeply. You listen. You make people feel understood. And when you speak, your words carry weight because they come from a place of truth, not pretense. That's communication mastery in action. And now, picture your daily life. The alarm goes off and you get up because you said you would. You do the workout, ache the call, you write the chapter, you follow through on the plan. Not because it's easy, not because you're motivated, but because it's who you are now. Discipline isn't something you try, it's something you live. And that's what allows you to stack victory on victory until momentum carries you to levels you never dreamed possible. And these three skills don't just make you successful, they make you magnetic. People will wonder why opportunities keep finding you, why you always seem to be in the right place at the right time. but it's not luck. It's the way you show up. It's the way you lead yourself first, and in doing so, inspire others to trust you, support you, and want to work with you. That's the ripple effect of mastery. And I want you to realize something even more powerful. These skills are not just about achieving external success. They're about creating internal freedom. Because what good is success if you're still ruled by fear, trapped by poor communication, or sabotaged by inconsistency? True success is waking up every day knowing you have the power to direct your emotions, connect with people authentically, and follow through on your commitments. True success is freedom from the chaos inside, not just the applause outside. And now let's talk about legacy. Imagine the impact you'll make when these skills become part of your identity. Imagine the way you'll show up for your family, present, strong, emotionally grounded. Imagine the way you'll lead your team, not through force, but through influence, through vision, through communication that inspires them to give their best. Imagine the way you'll inspire strangers, because people don't just watch what you say, they watch how you live. And when they see discipline in your habits, strength in your emotions, and authenticity in your communication, they'll want to rise to that level too. That's how leaders are born. That's how movements are created. That's how the world is changed. And it all begins with a decision to no longer let fear run your life, a decision to no longer let broken promises define your self-belief, a decision to no longer communicate at the surface, but to go deeper, to connect, to influence, to lead, a decision to master the 3 skills that unlock everything else. And because here's the undeniable truth, success is not about resources, it's about resourcefulness. It's not about waiting for the perfect circumstances, it's about creating them. It's not about hoping for change, it's about becoming the change. And these 3 skills, emotional mastery, communication mastery, and discipline, are the tools that allow you to do just that. And so every day becomes your training ground. Every challenge becomes your workout. Every conversation becomes your practice. Every small commitment becomes your opportunity to grow. And if you lean into that, if you embrace the process, if you train yourself to rise instead of retreat, you'll look back one day and realize you became the person you once dreamed of being, not because of luck, not because of chance, but because you chose to master the skills that unlock life itself. And so every day becomes your training ground. Every challenge becomes your workout. Every conversation becomes your practice. Every small commitment becomes your opportunity to grow. And if you lean into that, if you embrace the process, if you train yourself to rise instead of retreat, you'll look back one day and realize you became the person you once dreamed of being. Not because of luck, not because of chance, but because you chose to master the skills that unlock life itself. But let's go even deeper, because the truth is mastery is not a one-time decision. It's a lifetime practice. You don't master your emotions once. You master them daily. You don't master comms. Unication in a single breakthrough moment. You refine it every time you connect with someone. You don't master discipline after one tough week. You carve it into your identity by showing up again and again, especially when it's inconvenient. The people who rise to greatness aren't the ones who make a single bold move. They're the ones who practice the fundamentals with consistency until those fundamentals become who they are. And think of a musician who seems to play with effortless brilliance. What looks like magic is really repetition. Thousands of hours of hitting the same notes, practicing the same scales, making the same corrections. It's boring to some, but that's what creates the freedom to perform with power. It's the same in life. When you practice the fundamentals of mastering your emotions, communicating with influence, and disciplining your actions, one day it looks effortless to everyone else. They think you're gifted. They think you're lucky. They think you're different, but you'll know the truth. You trained yourself to that level. And this practice doesn't just make you strong, it makes you adaptable, because life is unpredictable. You can't control the economy, you can't control the market, you can't control what other people say or do, but you can control your response, you can control your energy, you can control your discipline, and when you do, you gain the ultimate advantage. Because when others panic, you stay calm. When others freeze, you act. When others quit, you persist. That is the difference between the majority who get stuck and the few who succeed. And now let's talk about the role of vision in all this, because these skills don't exist in isolation. They need a target, a direction, a reason. Emotional mastery without vision is wasted. Communication mastery without vision is manipulation. Discipline without vision is drudgery. And you connect these skills to a vision that excites you, that pulls you, that makes you want to leap out of bed in the morning, everything changes. You stop pushing yourself and start being pulled. You stop fighting with yourself and start flowing with energy. Vision gives fuel to the fire, and these skills give structure to the fuel. And the beauty of vision is that it doesn't have to be perfect. People get stuck thinking they need clarity before they act, But clarity doesn't come first. It comes after you start moving. You don't wait for the perfect vision to practice these skills. You build these skills and your vision sharpens as you grow. Because the more emotionally strong you become, the bigger the visions you'll allow yourself to dream. The better you communicate, the more support and feedback you'll gain to refine your direction. The stronger your discipline, the more progress you'll see. And progress creates clarity. And so don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait until you have it all figured out. Start now. Start building these skills with whatever's in front of you. Start practicing emotional mastery with the challenges you face today. Start practicing communication with the people already around you. Start practicing discipline with the commitments you've already made. And as you do, watch how your future begins to open in ways you couldn't have imagined. And there's another truth I want you to embrace. Your environment matters. The people you surround yourself with will either reinforce your mastery or undermine it. If you spend your time around people who are ruled by fear, who complain constantly, who quit when things get hard, it will rub off on you. But if you put yourself in environments where people expect excellence, where they challenge you to rise, where they live with discipline and purpose, you will grow faster than you ever could on your own. Because we are all influenced, whether we admit it or not. And when you consciously design your environment, you tilt the game in your favor. And that's why communication mastery is so powerful. Not only does it help you influence others, it helps you attract the right people. When you show up with clarity, energy, and authenticity, you draw to yourself people who resonate with that frequency. You build alliances. You build partnerships. You build friendships that lift you up instead of dragging you down. And those relationships amplify your discipline and support your emotional strength. And then here's something else. Resistance is part of the process. Don't expect it to be easy. Don't expect people to understand it first. When you start mastering your emotions, some people won't like that they can't push your buttons anymore. When you start mastering communication, some will feel threatened by your influence. When you build discipline, some will resent that your consistency exposes their excuses. But that's the price of growth. And if you want to rise, you can't let the opinions of others pull you back down. And the truth is, the more you grow, the more resistance you'll face. But resistance isn't there to stop you. It's there to strengthen you. Just like weights in the gym, resistance builds muscle, emotional muscle, communication muscle, discipline muscle. Every time you push through resistance, you level up. And the more you level up, the more capable you become of handling even bigger opportunities. And think of it this way. Life gives you challenges in proportion to your capacity to handle them. If you're facing something right now that feels overwhelming, it's not punishment. It's preparation. It's life saying, you're ready for more. Let's see if you can rise. And when you choose to master your response instead of crumbling, you earn the strength to handle the next level. And that's why these 3 skills matter so much. They are the training ground for every level of life. Emotional mastery allows you to rise in adversity. Communication mastery allows you to build alliances along the way. Discipline ensures you don't stop halfway. And together they make you unstoppable. And now imagine yourself years from now, looking back on this very moment. What story do you want to tell? That you let fear hold you back? That you settled because it was comfortable? That you waited for someone else to save you? Or do you want to tell the story of how you decided to master yourself? How you built the skills that most people ignore? How you created a life not just of success, but of significance? And the story you tell then depends on the choices you make now. And the choices are simple, even if they're not easy. Do you master your emotions, or do you let them master you? Do you master communication, or do you leave influence on the table? Do you master discipline, or do you let comfort control your destiny? And every moment, you're answering those questions with your actions. Every time you face fear and act anyway, you're saying, I master my emotions. Every time you connect deeply with someone, instead of staying on the surface, you're saying, I master communication. Every time you keep your word, even to yourself, you're saying, I master discipline. And with every choice, you're shaping not just your success, but your identity, your legacy, your life. And so embrace the training ground, embrace the practice, embrace the resistance. Because the skills you're building are not just tools for success, they're the foundation for everything you want to become. And the more you practice, the more automatic it becomes, until one day you won't even have to think about it. You'll just live it, and everyone around you will feel it, and your life will be the undeniable proof that when you master yourself, you can master anything